Here is a country of great contrast.
Great civilization of antiquity.
A foreign country of temple.
All right, once again, it's Casa de Cavazos time. I'm Justin Cavazos, coming in from Chicago. Aiden and Nathan coming in from Harlingen, Texas, trying to provide that Tejano connection to reality for you. What's up? What's going on? What'd you get up to since we last met?
I think the usual. We're getting back into the grind. We're training for a half marathon. It's not going that great for me, but trying to do that training, trying to go to the gym, trying to get those runs in.
How long have you been training?
I would say that I've been training for about 3 months or so, but there have been some setbacks. So trying to get enough runs in before the half marathon, which is in February.
Nathan, are you running the half marathon as well?
I will attempt to run it, but my training has only been about 1 week, and my knees are already pretty swollen. So
Oh,
Hey,
man.
last time he only ran 9 times though, so I feel like he could still potentially make it.
yeah, that's all I need. I just got to ramp up 1 mile per run.
Is that like the knee that's been bothering you?
Yes, all of a sudden it swelled up again. So I'm not too concerned about it. Doesn't really hurt me on runs. It's more bothersome at work and when I'm working out, but running's okay.
Is the half marathon, that one's in Austin, right?
Yes.
I hope you are prepared because I know that's a really hilly area.
The thing about the hills in Austin is you go up, but you also go down. So it's nice to just kind of float down that hill. My best half marathon actually was in Austin.
I don't remember that one too well. Was there a lot of inclines and declines?
There were some hills, but then you get to float down the hill. So I'd kind of sprint that easily and make up some time.
Yeah, I was really sick on that run.
Yes, he had a fever.
It was not my
What?
favorite
He
run.
actually was not fully conscious.
Did you just black
That's why
out
he
during the
doesn't
run?
remember.
No, I just felt horrible like the whole time.
I did beat him. So
Yeah, I felt
I was
so-
able to beat him because he had a fever.
Yeah, I felt so bad. I was just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Did you throw up?
No vomit. I just felt really tired like the whole time. I was just like, oh my God.
Every run like this is like a very memorable experience. So even though it can be painful training for it and the actual run can be painful, I feel like the actual experience is so memorable. It's just kind of worth it.
So you've done a bunch of half marathons. You've done a full marathon too?
Yes, we did one full marathon that we will always remember in a negative way.
Because you'll never do it again?
I will never do it again.
Why?
I don't think I'm the type that should do a full. What was your experience with that, Nathan?
I mean, I only trained, I think at the highest I got to at that point was like 13 miles. And I think
Yeah.
you're supposed to do what, 18 or 19 at least?
At least.
So I think like 20 miles in, I felt pretty good. I thought I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this in 4 hours. And at 23 miles, like my leg just wouldn't move anymore.
We ran together most of the way. So it was in beautiful San Diego, perfect weather, didn't feel humid. And we were about 13, 14 miles in and we're like, oh, we feel great. But then we're like, oh, we haven't really run further than this before. But we kept going. And then I think about the 20s, that's when we started really hitting the wall.
Yeah, I was telling Ada, I was like, this is a horrible decision. Why
Yes,
do we
there
do
was
this?
There was some bad words going on.
So yeah, she would have beat me pretty easily if she had left me behind. I wasn't sure if I could even continue
Yeah,
at
we were
that point.
talking about him getting carted off, possibly.
What the hell? How immobile is your leg?
My right leg just felt like, I don't know, like it completely tightened up. I could barely walk at that point. So even the medical staff there
Yeah.
was like, are you sure? And I was like, I don't know. Just give me a second.
So while I was trying to stick with him, I cooled down. And once I cooled down, my legs started hurting.
What the hell?
So then I struggled to finish as well.
Wait, so Nathan, did you limp for the last 6 miles?
No, I think we walked for probably like an hour. And then after that we ran. And being the total douche that I am, I finished before her.
Well, my legs were hurting at that point because, like I said, it cooled down and then all of a sudden I felt it. Then the next day we had the awesome idea of going to the San Diego Zoo with extreme soreness, going up and down steps. That was pretty terrible.
Yeah, every step was, man, that was
Pretty bad.
tight.
Becca and I have only done like one half marathon, and it was fun, but we didn't train nearly hard enough for it. So I remember during the entire process, like she's run a lot more than I have. She did cross country to some extent in high school. and running is like the physical thing that she does most regularly. So when we would go on runs together, I was always way slower than her, but she would slow down for me. She would run at my pace. But despite all of that, at the very end, when I saw that we were in the last mile, I just sped up. My feet hurt. I wanted it to be over.
Yeah.
So I just sped up, and I ended up getting a better time than her, just barely. And she was actually pretty pissed off at me after that. She was like, "What the hell? I could have left you in the dust this entire training process, and you just screwed me at the end there."
Were you really sore the next day too?
Yeah, well, my feet hurt a lot the same day. What's kind of frustrating about it is we had the Fitbits at the time, and they have those notifications that tell you, oh, you have like 250 steps left to go this hour, so you're staying a certain number of active hours. And we just run a whole half marathon. So we went to go have brunch with someone, sit down for a bit, and I got a notification on my watch. It's like, you have 250 steps left to go this hour. It's like, give me a break. We just ran a half marathon. Leave me alone, watch. Read the room.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to try to not get injured for this process?
Yeah, starting in 2019, I started getting injuries with running, so it's gotten a lot harder now. When we did the 2019 half here in South Texas, I was getting really bad ankle tendonitis. Mm-hmm. So I would literally stop during the half marathon, try to stretch it out, try to run a bit, have excruciating pain, and then kind of slow down. And I just had to try to make it through with that excruciating pain. And then last year, 2 weeks before the Las Vegas half marathon that we did, I literally tore muscle in my groin area, adductor muscle, like couldn't even really like plant the foot properly. And I still tried to run. I ran most of it, but yeah, it was pretty horrible.
But you didn't finish that one.
I did finish. There was just like 45 minutes of walking. 2 hours of running and like 45 minutes of walking or so to make it happen.
Did you beat anyone, or were you in last?
I definitely beat people. Yes, I did beat people. Surprisingly, if you do like a 245, 250 half, you still will beat people. So this time, since Nathan had such a good result last time, I decided to start working with this trainer. Mm-hmm. And then I found out that I had like almost no strength, like anywhere.
Oh, we all knew that.
Like I had like no muscle in my legs, like no muscle in my core, like nowhere essentially. And that was probably why I got that injury. Mm-hmm. And so I've been working with him since March, getting a lot of muscle mass, working back into running, and hopefully it'll go better this time. At least like not suffering from a groin tear or something like that.
Yeah. What's your current workout regimen? Y'all see the same trainer, right?
The same one you visited while you were here during the holidays, the one that made you throw up.
You know, I made myself throw up.
What?
I chose the path.
So we do full body workouts with a trainer, a lot of resistance training essentially, body weight resistance, weights. I do a lot of squats and lunges, and I think I have the most muscle I've ever had. Well, like I don't do like heavy bench presses like Nathan does. Like he has a goal to try to get to, I think, 225 pounds in the bench press, right?
Yes, that's my current goal, and to weigh 200 pounds.
Yeah, I don't have the goal to bench press massive amounts. I basically do a lot of squats, lunges, leg presses, like dumbbell curls, dumbbell shoulder presses, like lat pulls, sometimes sled pushes, sled pulls, chest presses with dumbbells, chest presses with the machine, like cable flies, things like that.
This is all the same workout?
It may all be on the same day, yes. I feel like I described most of what I did today.
Wait, so when did you run in 2019? I don't remember doing a run then.
Okay, yeah. So we ran a half, I believe, in 2019, but he wants to double check to see. You can actually look this up. Like most runs are on athlinks.com.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying it's not in 2019 because I think it was the first run I had done, because after the Lisfranc fracture, they had told me I would never be able to run long distance again, play basketball, or pretty much anything like that. Yeah, they told me. It was like, you won't be able to run long distance. You won't be able to play sports. You won't be able to do any plyo anymore. And I was like, bullshit. But after that run, I was like, man, this is horrible. Like
Chick-fil-A half marathon, December 19, 2019.
Okay, I still don't buy it. But at that point, my foot would still get really sore. I remember I started off really well, and then like the last like 5 miles, I literally had to stop like every like maybe 30 steps because my foot was getting so sore. And like I remember like this 77-year-old man beat me.
He must have looked awesome.
No, it looked like he was about to tip over. So
He actually died after that.
pretty bad loss. But I think that's around this time I started to work out, which is like right before COVID, with a friend of mine, and he wanted to do a lot of strength training. I had never done weights. I remember telling him I hated weights because it felt like I felt more tired after like a routine workout with him than running a half marathon. So I did not want to do it. And I think the only reason I ever started working out like after high school was if I put on any little bit of weight. Like if I had any sign of a belly, I'd start working out again. And I guess that's what finally happened. Like 2 years ago when I started with Rick, I was tired. Like I was like, man, I keep getting to this point where I gain weight and then it doesn't stay off. So my initial goal was just to be like an athletic build, right?
Yeah.
But over 2 years, I started getting stronger and stronger. So most of the people at this gym are there to maintain. And I mean, if it feels easy, I'll up the weight. So, I mean, just kind of by default, by being consistent, I don't eat great. I just don't overeat. I've gained almost 20 pounds of muscle and good amount of strength.
Yeah, shout out to Rick at Expect Fitness in Wesco, Texas.
Yeah, he didn't sponsor us, so we're just like giving the free ad.
Has Rick listened to the pod yet?
I don't think he listens to pods. I talked to him about it, and he said he doesn't listen to pods in general. Okay, so I just want to go back to 2019. We did the Chick-fil-A half marathon. Nathan got a 2-hour, 22-minute time. Apparently, he was stopping constantly because of foot pain. I got a 2-hour, 25 time. I was stopping constantly because of ankle pain.
Yeah, I was stopping. I'm telling you, I could barely
That was
walk.
the awesome aging process right there.
Yeah, I remember being there to actually watch you all do it.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to see a half marathon that's sponsored by a fast food chain.
Yeah.
Where like was it at the end of the race, like all the runners got like a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich or something?
I don't remember because remember we went to IHOP afterwards and I ate the trash can meal.
Yeah, if they gave out a sandwich, I don't remember that.
I think they had a whole bunch of them there, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jared was like, "Hey, can I have one?"
Yeah. I don't remember,
I feel
honestly.
like it was like a wet day too.
Yes, it was wet and like my ankles were hurting so much. Like this one man was like, "Oh, we're almost there. Don't stop." I'm like, it hurts too much, dude. Like, sorry, I'm just going to walk a little bit, then I'll try to run again. But for me, the goal as far as the gym, originally the goal was just to become a better runner, try to avoid injury. But now I just want to get shredded also. So my goal is to eventually get a 6-pack. That's my goal.
Like a mini wheat.
So you
It's
don't
gonna be
have
hard.
a weight target. You don't want to be like 200 pounds of just raw muscle.
I mean, I think most women aren't trying to be 200 pounds of raw muscle, sir.
Maybe they should be.
I will say, though, that the weight is very interesting. There was an article recently, I think in JAMA, about how we should really be using something like a body roundness index rather than BMI because, you know, some people, they are technically overweight with BMI, but they're not really overweight.
Yeah.
Like they're not really unhealthily overweight. It's just like they have so much muscle mass. And I've noticed that I'm not going to be able to really have a target weight anymore. I'm 118 right now, and I fit into stuff that I'd fit into before, like 108, 110, when I had no muscle. So I don't have a weight target, just like a clothes target, like fit into certain clothes that I like to wear. And also I want a 6-pack.
Okay, but side note on that, if you stay with Rick, that goal is going to kind of go askew.
Why?
Well, because like my waist hasn't got any bigger, but somehow my ass did. So now I have to get bigger pants.
You've been working on the peach.
Yep.
We'll see what happens. As long as the shirts that I want to fit, and I have the 6-pack, then I'm good.
Are there any shirts that are in your closet right now that you're like, damn, like one day?
I think so, but I actually recently fit into my Austin half marathon shirt, which I think is a 2012 extra small shirt. So that's pretty impressive. And I wore my extra small residency scrub top recently, and it fit really well. Like, it was very loose. It was good.
Yeah, we're definitely going in different directions because I had to throw away all my shirts because I used to wear small. None of that stuff fits me. So now I'm almost into the mediums. Hopefully I don't have to go any further. But I think I'm 20 pounds from my goal weight, and hopefully I can stay in a medium. I'm going to throw away all that
That
clothes
shows
too.
you that women don't have to freak out that they're going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger if they start doing weights. Women just aren't meant to build a ton of mass. So unless you're doing like something like a bunch of testosterone and creatine or something, like women are not going to bulk up massively.
I know a couple of women who are into CrossFit and they never got massive. You know, they're very strong, very toned, very defined, and they're lifting a lot of weight, but it's just not a ton of muscle mass. But also, like, I don't know, just pure muscle mass isn't the only goal with this kind of things. I get the sense that as you get older, the main thing you're trying to focus on is things like stability, balance, flexibility, and overall bone health. And overall bone health, like, weights are great for it.
I mean, muscle mass is super important even as you age, though. All the research lately has been talking about that.
But like, to what extent? Like, if are you like an 80-year-old grandpa with like no neck, you got the big old huge traps.
Hey man, Jack LaLanne. Jack LaLanne is like the model. That guy was built until he was dead, essentially. Like, he was working out till the day before he died. That's the person I want to be. Like, I want to have an awesome lifespan and health span. So I don't want to be all done for 10 years. Mm-hmm. I want to be healthy enough to do things till the end.
Do you feel like running marathons will be harder with all that mass?
So the thing is that I've now learned that I don't really have to run anymore. Like, just doing these workouts, these full body workouts, there's some cardio there. Mm-hmm. Building this muscle mass and getting that type of cardio, especially with the leg exercises, I think it's enough. I think maybe walking would be a good supplement, but I think running is kind of unnecessary. And I'll just do it for fun, like when we're going to do a half marathon or something.
So you've heard it from a doctor. Running is bullshit.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's bullshit, but it doesn't really build much muscle mass. And muscle mass is super important. And I also am not super convinced that doing a lot of running is good for you. There have been some cases where people ran so much that they developed scarring in their heart.
Yeah.
I think you can do a little bit of it. I think it's probably good for you to do a little bit of it, but doing something like the exercise that we do at our gym is probably enough.
You get the sense that some of the super long distance running is not great for the body. There's a lot of health impacts when you are so low on muscle mass and any weight in general. And I imagine it's much like, so there are a few sports, right, where keeping track of your weight and keeping it down gives you a competitive advantage, but leads to things like disordered eating, calorie deprivation. I'm sure running is like that. I've heard that climbing is like that because any bit of extra mass is going to hurt you on the wall.
Yeah, and also just think about the fact that if you run for 4 hours straight, your heart rate's going to be really high for 4 hours straight. So that's a lot of strain on the heart. Mm-hmm. They've done some studies where they've taken blood from marathon runners. I don't remember if they did it like towards the end of the run or after the run, but a lot of them had abnormal labs. Like, a lot of them had signs of a heart attack. Mm-hmm. They didn't technically have a heart attack, but they had signs of muscle damage, of heart muscle damage. Yeah. What about your fitness journey, Justin?
Well, I don't know. I feel like I had a different upbringing than you guys because you all actually got to play sports. And I imagine having things like a team and a set schedule can actually give you some of the foundations and the discipline to work out more frequently. But
even though I had that experience, honestly, like, I didn't work out for a long time. Mm-hmm. Like, in college, I didn't do anything. In med school, one of my friends one time invited me to the gym. We actually had a free gym we could go to that was part of the school. She invited me to a spin class. So yeah, I was doing it. About 10 minutes in, I felt like throwing up. I think I threw up. And after that, I didn't work out again till after residency.
Oh my God.
And that's when I started doing like Insanity, and somehow we started getting to running as well, and we signed up for the full marathon.
Yeah, I'm sure part of that too is just the sheer amount of time.
So basically, when I came back after residency, I was at my highest weight, which is about 132 is usually like the highest for me. And then I've been on and off. Mm-hmm. Like, I got back to that weight at some point, and then I started working out again when I trained for the last half marathon. And hopefully I can keep it going, and hopefully I don't have another gap.
Yeah, I feel like when you were getting into Insanity, when you had come back to Texas after your residency, that was when I started to exercise more regularly, because I think there's something about having a quasi workout partner. Even if we didn't work out together, we worked out sometimes, but there was something about that kind of motivated me a little bit, and that was the most regular exercise that I think I had around that period of time. And then after that, going to college, it was like lifting with people. Sometimes you socialize by doing pickup basketball or whatever, but it gets hard to build habits if you don't have that. And I imagine like for Nathan, right? Like you didn't like lifting before, but I remember you told me at a certain point that was something that was not focused on at all when you were doing varsity basketball.
No, I mean, the coaches we had at that time, like we had to go to the weight room, but we weren't monitored, and we always did the same 4 things, which I think was like bench, squat, like a deadlift, and like one other thing. So I mean, it wasn't very structured, and because of that, a lot of times I would just like leave. I'd like go in there, and then I would go run. Like I'd go run 5 miles, go play basketball. So my conditioning was good, but like I didn't really realize how much the strength helped until now, which I mean, I wish I had it then.
Yeah, when you were playing, like how often did you find that you were kind of butting up against stronger players and that you were at a disadvantage?
Really not that often. I guess just because maybe the culture at that time was probably the same around this area. The only time I really kind of felt it is when we played teams that were not from this area. And I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, like these guys, I had to like, if I wasn't ready, they'd push me around. I
honestly think that for me, the thing that's helped me the most is not really the fact that I played sports in high school. I also didn't really do much weight training. For us, I think they just threw us in the weight room and they didn't really tell us what to do. So we're just like, all right, I'll do something with this machine. I don't know. I guess I'll do this. For me, I think that having siblings that exercise has really helped. I feel like maybe if I was an only child, maybe I wouldn't be where I am now. I think working out with you guys has helped a lot. Like also just pressuring me to work out sometimes. Like I would do runs with Nathan. I also did a run with Justin last year where he just made me feel horrible. Like, oh, this is so easy. I'm like, oh my God, I've been training for 4 months.
Hey, your legs are a little shorter. I mean, it's probably
and apparently I had no muscle mass at that time either.
Yeah, I was like, why is that hard for you? And I don't think I'd really been on a run at that point either.
Yeah, you're like, this is the easiest run I've ever done.
It was like 5 miles?
Yes.
I guess it's all easier when you're going at this pace.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Would you ever consider doing like a triathlon?
I haven't really considered it. I don't feel like I'm really an endurance athlete so much. Like I like the gym workouts. Like that's 1 hour or so, hour and a half, and you're not dying the whole time. So that's kind of nice. Yeah,
you'd have to dedicate a lot of time to swimming because I don't think that's something you do a ton of.
Yeah.
What about you, Nathan?
Well, I don't know how to swim, so I'd be disqualified pretty quickly.
You would drown immediately. You'd enter.
Or die.
Yeah, just die.
It'd be terrible. Have you all seen the show The Pitt on HBO?
That did remind me of The Pitt because there is a case in that, I think, first episode involving a triathlete.
Yeah, Becca came in like halfway through the episode and they're mentioning whatever they're doing. And then she immediately was like, oh, does he have Redbo? I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh, Rhabdo?
Yeah, Rhabdo.
Yeah, so I learned about the show because some ER docs have talked about it. Apparently, one of like the major educators in emergency medicine is consulting with the show. And some people have said it's fairly realistic. So I started watching it. First thing I saw was Noah Wiley has the same backpack I do. Super realistic. Even straps hanging all the way down. I didn't realize that I looked so ridiculous. But I thought it was a pretty good show. I think all the shows make it seem a lot more exciting than it is. Like they'll compress things into 1 hour that do not happen in 1 hour. Like you just don't see that much acuity in any ER in 1 hour.
This is Noah Wiley's return to doing a medical role since like doing ER. Like,
right.
Do you remember like how crazy ER was? Like, were you in med school or a resident when ER was still on?
Yeah. So I actually sometimes would study by watching ER because they literally would tell you textbook things like, oh, this person has cardiac tamponade because they have these signs. I'm like, oh, great. Thank you. I'm studying for my test. And that's exactly what I needed to know.
Was it like super accurate at the time?
I think it's fairly realistic, but it's the same issue where they make it seem like there's a lot more happening than really happens. You know, like for example, in The Pit, you have things happening in an hour that I think some docs don't even do their whole careers. Like when they put the needle into the person's pericardial sac, the triathlon
that's
guy,
crazy.
the triathlete guy. Yeah. Like, I feel like a lot of people haven't even done that procedure.
Yeah, but they are real procedures. Every time I hear
Yes.
Becca talk about Grey's Anatomy, she's like, yeah, at this point, like Grey's Anatomy is just, it's fantasy. It's a
Yeah.
fantasy series because like half the shit they do isn't even real. They're just making up things.
What's nice about the Pitt is they are being consulted by real ER docs and like leaders in the field. So I think for the most part, it's going to be pretty realistic as far as the actual medicine. I also thought it was interesting that they brought up like the pressures that we have, which is like patient satisfaction and the fact that we do the best we can,
Yeah.
even though the hospital puts us in horrible situations, like poor staffing, boarding. So that was pretty realistic too.
I watched the first episode and I was very quickly reminded that this was on HBO. Like a lot of like ER, Grey's Anatomy, a lot of those shows, they do show some of the gnarly stuff, like with like surgery and ER stuff. But man, there was like something in that first episode where I was just like, yep, this is cable. This is cable viscera.
Was it the mangled leg?
The degloved foot and ankle.
That looked very fake though.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, that looks like super fake. That very unrealistic.
You got to hand it to the props department on that one because like even if it was like artistic license on how realistic that part of the leg was, like they emotionally made it feel gross.
That's true. They gave it some gross sounds too.
Yeah, the sounds were great. Nathan, did you watch any of it? Do you watch medical shows?
Not really. I mean, I've seen some, but like they're pretty bad. Like The Good Doctor, which is clearly not medically accurate.
What's the deal with
Yeah.
The Good Doctor? I've never seen it.
It's an autistic doctor who makes these crazy saves like every time, and
Yeah.
but it's very weird because like they're always doing experimental procedures when usually probably that case is
Yeah. I have a hard time watching medical shows because I start critiquing right away.
Yeah.
And if it's too unrealistic, I'm like, nah, I can't watch this show. I actually did like The Resident. I felt like, yeah, there were some things that were not super realistic. But for the most part, I thought they had pretty good consultants. So I enjoyed it. I didn't get to watch the last season, I think, but I liked The Resident.
What about something like House, where I feel like the characters and the plot and the drama are more important? But you're like watching that show and you're like, man, like, this guy should have been sued for malpractice a long time ago.
I don't think I've ever watched it.
You never watched House?
I don't think so.
It's so good.
no, I haven't.
I'm going to have to check it out. But like I warned you, I critique the shows. So if I feel like it's too fake, I'll just lose interest.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh, when I was watching The Pit, like that opening scene when I guess one of the doctors from the previous night had like a horrible shift and he's up on the roof like contemplating suicide. Like I remember Ada would come home sometimes like super stressed out. Like she didn't even know why she chose that profession because I mean I guess the stuff she was seeing was so horrible. That kind of hit home with me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I was suicidal.
No, not the suicide part. just the stress.
Yeah. I think it's, for me, it's just the amount of work. Like, it's just a lot. And you can't really provide the greatest care when you have so much work.
Yeah.
Like, you're understaffed. You have constant patients coming in, like super sick patients, especially in South Texas. And then I still had all this charting to do.
Yeah, what do you see in an ER in South Texas versus an ER in Philly?
I think you see a lot more variety. But in Philly, you tend to have a lot of gunshot wounds. A lot of like people who are in respiratory distress because they have a lot of fluid overload. But South Texas is almost like a textbook. Like I've seen it all. Like it's insane how sick people are down here. A lot of like flesh-eating bacteria, necrotizing fasciitis kind of cases.
Jesus.
A lot of heart attacks. You name it. A lot of strokes. You have trauma. Sometimes gunshot wounds, but not as much as Philly. It's amazing how sick people are down here.
What's the most common injury you see in the valley?
I mean, I think it's always going to be like car crashes. I mean, most car crashes are going to turn out okay,
Yeah.
but some of the really bad ones are disasters.
Yeah. I mean, especially in places where drunk driving is kind of normal.
Yeah, but also too, like things happen. Like, have you ever seen a mattress on the highway?
Yeah.
So if you hit it, you're going to lose control, probably hit the barrier, and probably involve other vehicles.
Oh, man.
And hope to survive.
Nathan, have you seen anything in the line of work that has required you to seek medical attention? Like for you or someone you're working with?
Luckily, not yet.
Working with high voltage?
No, I mean, we didn't see it, but we did have a situation where we got called out to a golf course because apparently there was if you'd go to the restroom on the course, people were getting shocked when they touched the wall. And we had gone to look, and I remember my employee said, "This thing is hot," but I was thinking in my mind like, "Oh yeah, I mean it's hot outside. It's metal. It's got some heat on it." So anyway, that stayed like that, and then when they ended up calling us back, turns out that my employee was actually he was getting shocked. He said that the utility worker that actually went and figured it out got shocked so bad like he passed out. Like they thought he was dead.
Wow.
And luckily, like he wasn't. But as far as me, like I haven't seen any of that stuff yet.
Well, I think there's like one inaccuracy to your response there, because I know for a fact that you took me to the ER to see Ada at one point on an electrical shift.
But that had nothing to do with electrical.
What was the story again? Was it like a screwdriver or something?
Yeah, so like we were both working for our dad, and like part of his electrical work is for a lot of like municipal electrical stuff. But because dad knew a lot of people, he would just shoot the shit with them. He would just talk to them for a while without even doing any work. I can't even remember if we were actually there for a job or if he was just catching up with his friend and they were just talking there. So it was just very boring.
No, we had already done the job and we were just basically shooting the shit after the fact, which still happens to this day.
Yeah. It happens. It's part of the job. But I was extremely bored. I had like a flathead screwdriver, and there was this concrete like PVC thing that was holding the door open. Basically, it was just like a concrete base with like a PVC pipe stuck in it, and another like T-joint PVC pipe at the top, which was pretty small and open. So I was just mindlessly sticking this screwdriver through the hole in the PVC. And I guess Nathan must have been bored too, because he was like, I bet you can't lift up that whole thing with just a screwdriver. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was trying it. So I was like lifting it up. But of course, because of the way leverage and physics works, by the time I pushed it up at all, the gravity and the concrete won. And I just ended up launching this screwdriver towards my face. And I had like this shock of pain next to my right eye. And I was like, why? My face feels wet. Like, why does it feel cold? Because this is the summer. It's like 100-some degrees outside, and it's really hot. Nathan's like, you got blood coming down your face. It was so hot that the blood felt colder than the air.
Yeah.
On my face, and Nathan was actually worried that I might have actually like hit my eye.
Yeah.
But it was just
Luckily,
superficial.
It was small, a small wound. You're lucky.
Yeah, I shouldn't have told him to do that. I felt very bad.
Yeah. You could have lost your vision.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that his scar was as minimal as it could be.
Well,
Is it
Ada
even
did a great
visible?
job. I actually went to the ER. Ada was working there at the time. She stitched me up real quick. Did a really good job.
I mean, it was a really minor wound. I also thought the important part was more like the aftercare instructions. Like, you really need to make sure it doesn't scab up.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we talked about, like, not letting it scab up, just keeping it moist with some kind of, like, topical antibiotic or, like, just Vaseline.
Or just sweat.
So I think that's really what helped more than anything.
Yeah,
But speaking of being an ER doc, I just want to say, too, that I think the Pitt does give you that feeling that we do have, which is we're overwhelmed all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we wish people would just give us some more grace.
Yeah.
People are always like pissed off at ER doctors or mad about the waits, but like we're doing the best we can. We're just trying to like take the best care we can of patients, trying to be as efficient as possible, but there's only so much you can do. You're only one person. One person can only do so much. And I never felt suicidal, but I've heard of people who have.
Yeah.
One of my friends actually said that she had a colleague. One day he just said, I'm leaving right now. If I don't leave right now, I'm going to kill myself. And he just walked out. Like, he left in the middle of his shift. He
Wow.
never came back.
So he just quit being a doctor?
I'm not sure what he did after that, but he left the job in the middle of a shift. So I know he did okay. Like, he didn't kill himself, but he said, hey, I got to go. Like, I can't do this anymore.
What'd you say you did to handle your stress?
I think exercising and just vegging out.
So
Yeah.
you exercised, you vegged out in order to handle your stress. Did any of that vegging out take form of like playing video games or anything? Did you ever get into that?
I'm not really a video game person. So not
So you don't
really.
care about the Nintendo Switch 2? They just announced it today.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a Nintendo Switch, which I've played with my daughter, and she's played in the past too. And I think it's a really cool device, but I'm not sure we're going to get the Switch 2. We'll see.
Well, what games do you end up playing with her?
I think Mario games. I don't know what the names are off the top of my head. The latest Mario games, Mario Kart as well.
You've become like the old mom. It's like, oh yeah, they're just playing Nintendo. I don't know.
Everything's
They're playing Mario.
I'm also like pretty bad at the games. So
Didn't you have a Super Nintendo growing up?
yeah, still not very good.
Were you bad at that too?
Probably. I die a lot.
We did not have a Super Nintendo, FYI.
Oh, we
whose
didn't?
was
I
that?
thought we did.
We had a Sega Genesis.
Didn't we have a stepsister who had a Super
Yeah, our stepsister ended up having that console.
I thought
but
we had a Super Nintendo around us at some point.
at some point, yes, but we had a
Yeah.
Genesis.
Well, I remember
prior
the
to
Super
that.
Nintendo because that was like part of my visitation experience. When I come and see Dad and you all on the weekends, but then I just play video games because
Yeah.
ours was a highly limited video game household. We were only allowed to play like an hour a week, and the only exception was if friends came over. So sometimes we just like invite friends just so we could play video games a little bit longer. But
You're like, I don't even like this person, but I'll get to play video games.
yeah, it do be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you didn't know how to play the game? So you guys would like force me to play the game like over and over again. I was like, no, I just finished this. And Dad would come in like, no, you need to play it again. And I was like, oh God, why?
You know what I do remember? Like back in the 90s, we would do things like have a family member who had money, like call to get walkthroughs. Like you could call a line to get walkthroughs to help you with the game.
How much did they cost?
I don't remember. They were willing to do it for us. I'm like, oh, thank God. Now you can just YouTube it.
Yeah, going on the internet and finding out exactly what to do. I mean, a lot of people nowadays don't even play the games; they just watch other people play the games most of the time. I feel like I remember one of the games that we would make Nathan play over and over again was y'all had a Sega Dreamcast, and it was like the Sonic Adventure had come out, and that was like one of the first like 3D Sonic games, like the first like really big true 3D Sonic games. And it was just very hard for my child brain to comprehend moving around in 3D space. But I will say, people have revisited that game, and they say the cameras and the controls are fucking garbage. Like normal
you
people
feel-
will pick up adults with normal, fully grown hand-eye coordination will play that game and be like, "This is impossible to play. I'm just falling off. I'm like clipping through the map."
So you feel like redeemed somehow.
Yeah.
Like you're not garbage.
So then I was a pretty competent gamer then for completing the game multiple times.
Yep.
Well, I'm an incompetent gamer.
Could have been a speedrunner, but I mean, they existed back then, I'm sure, but it wasn't as big of a thing.
Yeah.
Just being so good at all those games.
I will say that Nintendo Switch is a really nice device just because of the fact that you can take it with you everywhere.
It really changed console gaming and our relationships with it because for a long time, like handhelds were just so separate from all of the consoles that you would have. Those are very different gaming experiences. You had to have this compromised experience on the go. But like the Switch was like the first one where it's just like, oh, I can actually take console style games on the go that are kind of like basically caught up with the rest of the console generation. Though I will say, I want to pour one out for the PlayStation Vita because that was ahead of its time. It was great. I still have one. I have a Vita that I hard earned by eating a random chicken wing at a Dave & Buster's like establishment.
Wait, who did this bet or what happened?
He can tell you.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was
what
like,
happened?
How early was that in your relationship with Rosie?
It was probably the first year.
Yeah, in the first year. I think I was visiting Texas and we went to Main Event, which is like a rip-off Dave & Buster's, but still pretty cool. And someone at the bar left a plate with some chicken wings on it. And Nathan was just like, if you eat that random chicken wing, you can have the PS Vita at a heavy discount. I was like, that it seems like I win both ways. Like I wanted to eat that chicken wing anyway, but now I have permission and I get a cheap PS Vita. Great.
Now you see how bad of an influence I am. He like stabbed himself in the eye. He ate random
Well,
chicken
it wasn't the
wings.
eye. It was the skin surrounding the eye. So it's not as bad. Wait, so did the Vita also have the Switch capability where it connected to the TV very easily?
I mean, I guess so, but not out of the box. Like, you could buy docks with it, and you could pair other controllers with it if you wanted to. But it was still a way more clunky experience than just putting it in the dock, grabbing the controllers out, and being able to play immediately.
Yeah.
That was huge. And it sounds like it's going to be even better now with the Switch 2 because you don't have those weird little rails.
Okay.
It's just like it will come in magnetically, which solves one of the biggest problems with the rails. Is that if someone has not touched a Nintendo Switch before, chances are they will try to jam it in the wrong way, and they might like mess up the controllers or mess up the rails on the Switch. So I think that'll be cool too.
I will say now I work in a freestanding ER, private freestanding ER that is not stressful at all. I'm not overwhelmed. And so sometimes when I take my daughter, because there's a little call room we can hang out in, we take the Nintendo Switch sometimes and we hook it up to the TV and play.
What?
So it's super easy to do, super easy to move around with it and take it with you on a little trip.
So what you're saying is like in the American healthcare system, ear docs would be so much less stressed out if they could just chill and play the Switch for a little bit in their shifts.
Clearly. Yes. Like, oh, there's no patient right now. I'm going to go play the Switch. Call me when there's a patient.
I think it's going to be pretty exciting. We don't know a ton about the console right now. We just know that it's going to be released in April, and there's going to be a bunch of events all over the world, like in New York. I think there's going to be one in Dallas, too, where you can have a hands-on experience with the console. Would you want to go to that?
In Dallas?
Yeah.
I don't think so. But I think we should get our brother Jared, who lives in New York City, to go to the event so he can report back to us.
So, Nathan, I know that for the past couple of consoles, you've been kind of an early adopter. You know, you do you have a PS5?
Yes, we just set it up a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So you've got the PS5. You've collected like a lot of games. Are you planning on pre-ordering and getting the Nintendo Switch 2 as soon as it comes out?
I'm not sure. I mean, I got the original Switch right when it came out, and then I never played it. And then it's kind of been that relationship with the Switch for me.
It seems like the perfect kind of experience to play video games with your children or around your children.
Yeah.
Well, they have a Nintendo Switch. We have two of them, but I mean, they're not really that interested in it.
I'm still on PlayStation 4,
Yeah, me too.
and I don't use it.
We also have an Xbox One X in box still, so don't feel too bad about that.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's gonna be a collector's item in a couple of years, you know. Never open it.
No, I still have too many questions about the Nintendo. I mean, I need to see the specs. I mean, if it's not 4K, it's going to be kind of a bummer for me.
Why do you got to see Mario in 4K, though?
You need to see the texture of the denim. You need to see that fantastic plumber Italian ass and
Is
Quad
there
HD.
also like a little bit of sweat that you can't see?
I mean, I don't care about all that stuff. It's just, I mean, you're upscaling. And I'd rather just be native at this point.
I probably won't buy it anytime soon. I think our Nintendo Switch will have to break.
Yeah, and it's backwards compatible. So, I mean, if you get it, play all the old games.
Yeah.
Well, most of them. I did read that some of them may not work. I don't know why that would be, but there's that.
Sounds cool. We got to get Jared to go lay hands on the Nintendo Switch 2 in New York City.
I already have a Switch, so I can just play games on the Switch and on the go. I've kind of used that analog pocket that Rosie gave me as my go-to like plain gaming device. It's kind of nice to not carry around a Switch and just have like a small retro gaming device that I carry around and play titles that I never got around to playing because I wasn't that with it mentally as a small child in the era of like Super Nintendo games. So I'm like playing Super Mario World for the first time and not getting frustrated with it. So that's cool.
Nice.
Well, maybe we'll see the new Switch sometime soon.
Yes.
Who knows? Maybe it'll be really expensive because of tariffs on parts with the incoming administration.
All Nintendo has to do is suck up to Trump and they'll be okay.
All right. Well, it's been a good chat. I hope like we're getting some new folks listening. And as always, word of mouth is the best way you can spread the news about this podcast, make it sustainable so that we can keep on doing this, keep on talking to you about all of these. We actually have an email address now, right?
Yes.
If anyone wants to submit some questions to the pod, I guess it'll be in the description. But what's the email address?
casadecavasospod@gmail.com.
Yeah, casadecavasospod@gmail.com. If you have any questions, we get enough of them, we can start a mailbag segment which would be really cool. We'd love to engage with some of our listeners who are doing it. Reach out to us. We're happy to talk. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart.
Amazon.
Yeah, rated 5 stars. Subscribe, follow, and we'll see you around.